Join me as today we go alone into Deepfall Breach, the solo adventure included in the starter set for Dragonbane. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me once again here on Me, Myself, and I. If you do want to help support the channel, please do consider hitting liking and possibly subscribing or even joining us over on Patreon or here on the YouTube channel memberships. All of that support really does make a big difference and allows me to continue producing things like this. Today, we are using Dragonbane and we are going into Deepfall Breach, which is the solo adventure that is included in the starter set. Now, before we get into it, couple things. One, I've already made the character. His name is Thirdrum Shadowstone, and he is a dwarf. And there he is. I just painted this dwarf, and I don't know what he's going to sound like. He probably won't do a lot of talking as he is, alone in Deepfall Breach. But nonetheless, there he is. There's our little guy right there. I've already created him, so we're going to have a quick look at him in terms of his stats. Making a character in Dragonbane is dead simple, super simple. Basically, you roll your stats, 46, and you take the best three. You essentially go down the line. You can swap to after that. So he is thoroughly slightly above average, which is good. His highest stat is strength, which is 16. Everything else is either 13 or 11. I've gone through and assigned all of his skills. He is a fighter, but he has sort of a penchant for thievy stuff, so he's good at sneaking and stuff like that. However, he's wearing chainmail, which is going to give him a bane on those rolls, and of course, a bane in this game just means you roll 2d20 and you take the worst result. Now, for those of you who don't know Dragonbane, the rules are very simple, but essentially it is a d20 game, sort of. You want to roll under your skill. So if my skill is 12, I want to roll 12 or under. That would be a success. Boom, right there, just like that. If you roll a 1, that's called a dragon. That's a very good result. If you roll a 20, that's a demon. That's a very bad result. Basically, that's it. Boons mean that you roll 2 or more d20s and you take the best result for you, and banes are the opposite. So that's essentially the rules. In terms of Thirdrum's character, he's a fighter, so he's really good with weapon skills and stuff like that. He's got a couple of special abilities. Unforgiving, he is a dwarf, which means he can spend 3 willpower points and basically get a boon on attacks against people who have damaged him in the past. Sort of the Book of Grudges style of dwarves here. Then he's got the heroic ability of Veteran, which he has because he's a fighter. Veteran means he spends 1 willpower point and he can retain the previous round's initiative card. Now, also, he has the Army of 1 heroic ability, which he gets from being a solo character, which basically allows him, for free, to draw 2 initiative rounds in the turn. So he gets 2 actions every round, which is an extremely powerful ability. Combined with his Veteran heroic ability, how am I going to rule that? Is that he spends 1 willpower point and he can keep 1 of those cards. If he wants to keep both, he can spend 2 points. Other than that, he's got very little. He's got chainmail, a battle axe, and a small shield, much as he does in the miniature here, which is kind of cool. He's got a couple of torches. He's got 3 torches and 5 days worth of rations, and that is it. He's got 5 silver coins, or he had 5 silver. I bought a couple of extra torches. Torches have to be rolled for after every stretch of time, which is about 20 minutes or so, as far as I know. Again, I'm not super up on the Dragonbane rules, so I'm probably going to make a bunch of mistakes, but that's okay. This is all for fun. The other thing I want to point out is that Dragonbane and Forbidden Lands are very close in terms of some of their rules, so I might wind up actually kind of making mistakes because I'm in a Forbidden Lands game right now, so those rules are in my head. I'm going to try not to, obviously, but even in my Dragonbane featureless gray plane video where I looked at the combat system, which you can find linked here, I inadvertently was using a Forbidden Lands rule, which means that in Forbidden Lands you can hold an action to defend, but that's not how it works in Dragonbane. So anyway, I'm going to try not to get those things screwed up. Dragonbane is not particularly complicated at all, but I always have like 4 or 5 different RPG systems in my head, so I'm liable to mix some things up. I'm going to try not to do that. Everything you need to do this as a solo game is right here in the supplement that comes with the starter set, the core solo tool. So this is your Oracle. This is where you use the dice to basically fill in for the GM. I'm so used to Mythic GM emulator that I have to kind of rewire my brain a little bit, because this is a different fortune chart and a different inspiration table and oracle table. So I will be trying to use only the stuff in here. Normally I would use a whole bunch of other supplements to sort of, well, supplement the experience. But today, in the interest of exploring this particular starter set, I just want to use the core solo rules included with this game. So how it works is with your fortune chart, you roll a d6, and 1 to 3 is a no, and 4 to 6 is a yes. 1 being an extreme no, 6 being extreme yes. You can also sort of tilt the scales. If something is more likely to be a yes outcome, then you roll 2 dice and you take the higher. And conversely, if it's more likely to be a no outcome, you roll 2 dice and take the lower. So that's basically it. And you can use a fortune chart to determine yes, no questions, number of things, the scale of things, power, quality, reactions. And then, of course, we have the inspiration tables too, which is gives you a series of words to put together to get an idea of what might be going on here. The other thing I want to talk about before we get into the delve here is that I want to use this product that was sent to me by Avengers Decks. This is The Journey, battle mats for your tabletop role-playing game. This comes in both hard copy as well as digital files, which you can use on VTTs. I love this thing. It is basically a portable battle mat, and it comes with all different kinds of environments and battle mats and all kinds of stuff. I really, really dig this. Scott, the creator, was kind enough to send me a copy of this, and I want to use it today if I can. If you're interested in this, viewers of Me, Myself, and Die actually get a 10% discount on this. So if you want to check out Venger's random encounter decks and get that discount, you can just enter the discount code Me, Myself, and Die at checkout when you purchase this. The details for all that is in the comment section below. But check his stuff out. Really, really good stuff. Okay. Legends tell of a wicked wound in the world struck by the demon lord Sathmog's spear. Deepfall breach. The perilous depths of the breach plummet leagues into the foundations of the misty vale, comprising rough-hewn passages, echoing caverns, and ancient ruins. Only a fool would venture alone into this realm of chaos and shadow, and yet here you stand. Yes, I do. Quite a fool Thirdrum is, as I randomly rolled his weakness as gullible, which means he believes everything he hears. So I think he heard that there was a bunch of easy coin to be made in Deepfall Breach. Oh, how he will no doubt come to rue that day that he heard that particular lie. If lie, in fact, it is. He also has honest blue eyes. Honest, gullible. I think he's got victim painted all over him. We'll see how long he lasts. He's also got a memento, a locket with a lock of hair in it. If this was going to be a really deep, sort of interesting character-driven campaign, that would probably mean something. But I have a feeling that old Thirdrum might not get very far into this, as this is a very dangerous game. Essentially, the game starts at a nameless chapel standing at the edge of Deepfall Breach, where our guy, Thirdrum, encounters an old wolfkin seer, basically, who introduces himself as Stonegaze, but his true name is Ingolfer. The dude that watches over the entrance to Deepfall Breach, and he has visions of what the breach might contain, so that's sort of the conceit of how this adventure works. Ingolfer tells Thirdrum that the leader of a sect of demon cultists holds the World Breaker Shard, the tip of the abyssal spear that split this land and created the breach. This power cannot stay in their grasp. Foul magics cloud their location from my sight, so ye must locate the shard through other means. Seek below a band of cultists transporting a prisoner, an orc named Gorum. Gorum knows the location of the cultists' outpost and may serve as a valuable ally in the days to come. There is also a threat. A trio of goblin scouts plunder the breach, looting ancient crypts and robbing any who wander across their path. When the threat triggers, they will spring an ambush, and there's rules for an encroaching threat as well, which we're going to use here as well. So, Ingolfer has told Thirdrum that there are a series of corridors and rooms that he's got to get through in the breach to explore in order to get to his final path. He only knows some of them, though. So the last one is a fiendish altar. That is apparently where these cultists are holding Gorum, the orc. That's his ultimate goal. But the first thing that Thirdrum has to deal with is a plunging path that Ingolfer describes as a sloping corridor that carries you into the oppressive depths of the breach. Tread softly, lest ye wake the creatures of fang and wing nesting within the cracks and hollows of this ancient passage. So, that tells me that the first path that he's got to go through is an old cave tunnel, and we know that there are sleeping creatures of fang and wing, so probably some sort of bat, perhaps some sort of monstrous flying creature that is sleeping in the corridor. So I'm going to turn, using Venge's Dex, to, he just happens to have a great battle map that will help us. Boom, right here, this kind of sloping corridor right there, and I'm going to put Thurdrum at the entrance. I think just because this map shows it, there are sort of guttering torches and braziers, burning braziers at the far side and the near side. What the hell? Let's use the battle map. Inexplicably, there is torchlight burning from these things, so he can see. However, we do know, as I said, that he has been warned of creatures of fang and wing nesting. So I think as he moves in here, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to see if he can do a spot hidden roll, which is going to take a shift of time. He's being very careful to search to see if he can see any evidence of these creatures, whatever they are, that might be hiding in the cracks and nooks and crannies of this cave entrance that slopes ever slightly downward. Now, because he's using a spot hidden, that's going to take a stretch of time. And any time in this game, in this solo thing, and delving the depths here, anytime you spend time on something, that's going to make the threat advance. So the threat right now is at 1, but because Thurdrum spent a stretch of time searching, the threat advances to 2. What this means is if this threat die ever gets to 6, those trio of goblin scouts that are looting the area, they will stage an ambush and attack. Now, Thurdrum doesn't know that, but we do. His spot hidden is 10, which means, of course, he has to roll a 10 or less on a d20. But because he has been warned of these things, Engulfer has warned him that these creatures might hear, I'm going to give him a boon on this roll. So he's going to roll twice, and he's going to take the best. Does he see anything? Well, good thing he had the boon, because that would have failed. So he does, in fact, succeed. So he sees that, in fact, there are creatures here. I'm not going to roll to see if there are, because we know that there are. He's going to very carefully sneak his way, which is going to require a sneaking roll. Now, here's the problem. He's in chainmail, which means he has to take a bane. So he's going to roll, and he's going to take the worst result as he sneaks. His skill at sneaking is 12. Oh, okay, lucky. Both of those are successes. So he doesn't have to push the roll. You can also push the roll in this game, much as you can Forbidden Lands. Pushing the roll means you get to roll again, except that imposes a condition on you. A condition on you is it's imposed on one of your stats. So any skill that you roll that's associated with that stat, you roll with the Bane from that point on until you rest and get rid of the condition. But he succeeds in sneaking past. He slowly makes his way to the far end and into a separate corridor and continues forward. Now, from here on, Engulfer has told us that the second area on the way to this temple, this underground temple that Thurdrum is looking for, the description that Engulfer gave him was this: fire long ago ravaged this once grand mausoleum. It holds 5 remaining sarcophagi amid piles of ash. Find ye a path through a door hidden within one of these coffins, but disturb not the scorched dead, nor the hidden trap. Okay, so that tells me it's very possible that those dead within the sarcophagi are not exactly resting peacefully. But we will see. There is a hidden trap somewhere. So just because I'm going to use this map exactly as it's laid out here, this is the central sarcophagus, and these, what appear to be pillars, are in fact pillars that are holding up the vast vaulted chamber ceiling. However, these pillars themselves also serve as sarcophagi. So they are pillars, but there's obviously, he can see carvings on the outside, carvings of beings of ancient kings, perhaps. There's 5 of them, and he knows that there is a secret door that's going to lead to the next passage somewhere in here. So as Thurdrum comes into this new chamber, he pretty much has to carefully search. Now, unfortunately, that is also going to advance the threat track to 3, but he must do it. He does know what he's looking for in this case. He knows that the secret door is somewhere within one of these sarcophagi. So I think, armed with this knowledge, he's going to go around and he's going to, without touching anything, he's going to get down and examine the stones on the floor around the pillars specifically to see if there's any scratches in the stone that might indicate that one of these sarcophagi might open up like a secret door. So he kind of has an idea of what he's looking for. So again, I'm going to give him the boon on the spot hidden roll. His spot hidden is 10, but he rolls with a boon, so he takes the better of this. Okay, well that's great, because again, a 20 would have been a demon roll, which would have been terrible. But because he has the boon, he does succeed. Now, as I said, he spent a stretch of time to do this, so the threat roll does advance. Somewhere in the darkness, those goblin scouts are coming closer. But he does succeed, which indicates to me that he does find a secret door. Which one is it? It's going to be 1, 2, so it's going to be this one over here. So Thirdrum approaches this pillar over here, and sure enough, sees that there is, in fact, scratches along the floor that indicate that this graven image of this 7-foot-tall ancient king, carved into the stone to look like he's sleeping, standing up, kind of thing, almost like a mummy, that it looks like there's a way to pull this stone forward. Now, Engulfer warned him, do not disturb the sleeping dead or the trap. My question is, we know that the secret door is here, so this is going to be the exit, but my question is the exit itself trapped? That's my first question. I think it is very likely, well, actually, I don't think it's really likely. It's just as possible that maybe the central sarcophagus, where there's a lot of loot and treasure, was the one that's trapped. There's not necessarily the exit that was trapped. So I'm not going to roll with any sort of advantage or disadvantage. I'm just going to roll a straight up question on the fortune table. Is this exit trapped? The answer is 5, which is yes. So, okay, it's not an extreme yes, so the trap doesn't immediately go off or something, but this is the trap. So the question is, does Engulfer see the trap before it does go off? He did a successful spot hidden, but he didn't succeed with a dragon, which is a 1. If he had succeeded with 1, I would say he sees the trap immediately, but he didn't. So there's still a chance that he might not see this. I think he's got to do an awareness check as he figures out a way to open the door. Is he able to spot the trap and perhaps avoid it? That's going to be an awareness check. No bane or boon on this. This is just a straight up test of his awareness, which is 10 on my yellow die here. Okay, so he does. As he's pulling the door back, he sees that maybe there's like an ancient wire or something that's connected to the top and bottom of this swinging door that's part of this pillar, and he sees that, and he right away thinks that this is connected to maybe like a falling block or something that would fall and crush him, perhaps. We're not sure what the nature of the trap is because he didn't set it off. He is in fact able to very, very carefully squeeze through that open door into this pillar without activating the trap, only because he saw it, which is good. Now, my other question, though, is, Engulfer said, disturb not the scorched dead. It's very unlikely that the scorched dead would be in this hidden pillar. Possible. So my other question for the oracle here is there some sort of restless dead in this sarcophagus? I don't think there is, actually. So I'm going to tilt the scales towards negative. So we take the lowest result. 1 is the lowest result. Extreme, no. So not only is there not any restless dead in here, there's no dead at all. There's no body in this, which kind of makes sense. This is a false tomb. So luckily, Thirdrum is able to manage to squeeze into this sarcophagus built into the pillar, not set off the trap, and he sees right away a circular set of stone steps going down into darkness. He must now light a torch because there is no light whatsoever. He does so and makes his way down into the next area. Now, Engulfer knows nothing about the next 2 areas, so we have to randomly determine it. So as Thirdrum makes his way down into the darkness, his torch held aloft, flickering and guttering as he goes. It is an unknown waypoint. So the first thing we do is roll a d20 on the area table to learn the type of zone, chamber, or passage you are entering. What is the area that Thirdrum enters into next? 5. Oh, confounding maze. Oh, I hate mazes. I hate them. But that's okay. A confounding maze, that's going to be brutal. So now we roll a d4, 3, and then roll a d4 that many times on the location details table to choose which subtitles will flesh out the area. So we rolled a 3. So the first one is going to be an oddity. The second one is going to be environment, and the third one is going to be danger. Okay, confounding maze. The oddity of this confounding maze as he steps into this stone hallway with many, many, many confounding branches ahead of him. He kind of sees this, sighs deeply as he knows what this is. This is a maze. So what is the oddity? The oddity is a talking statue is the oddity, and that is indeed odd. The environment of this confounding maze, dusty air, that makes sense. Not a lot of people have been through here before. And finally, the danger of the maze, fiery surroundings. Okay, well that changes things a bit. The staircase emerges onto a landing, and the landing has another set of staircases that goes down into an open chamber, but what he sees ahead of him is in fact this gargantuan stone maze, and he can see down into the maze because he's above it. It is flanked on either side by vast stretches of inky darkness, but that darkness is being illuminated from below by what might be magma or lava, perhaps. It's creating this ruddy red black kind of glow that illuminates at least the edges of the area. The entire maze itself seems to be constructed upon some sort of like gargantuan stone island in this blackness. And he can see way, way, way at the far end of this maze, he can see another set of steps, stone stairs going up to another, almost the mirror image of the landing he's on now with a stone door. But he's got to navigate that maze first. Now, the entire place is surrounded by this ocean of gurgling, popping lava. So the problem is if he takes a particularly nasty turn, he might wind up stepping by accident onto a ledge which might cause him to topple into the lava. That would be very, very bad. The air is extremely dusty, perhaps a choking hazard, we shall see. And of course, somewhere there's a talking statue, probably in the middle of the maze. So it is my guess that he's going to have to get through the maze, but he's going to have to go through the middle and deal with this talking statue, whatever that's going to look like. So he sort of looks out over the maze. Now, the question is, from his vantage point, is he able to get some sense of what the best avenue of approach to get through this maze is? Because again, he can sort of see the top of it. It's almost like looking down on it. Yeah, he's going to do an awareness, but you know what? Anybody worth their salt wouldn't make this maze easy to navigate, so he's gonna roll it with a boon. It's gonna be hard to see if he can chart a way, or at least give him some advantage as he's charting his way through the maze. So this is with a boon. He's gonna take the worst. His awareness is 10. Oh my God, he did it! This is amazing! So he's actually able to get a sense of how to navigate this maze. Now, it's not like he can see the perfect way through, but as he sort of looks on it, and his sort of dwarven brain kicks into gear, and he starts to think, yes, it seems to me that when my people built mazes such as this, there was always a trick to it. You always turn to the right, or something like that. So that is going to give him a boon on any navigation rolls he's got to make to get through the maze. That is very, very good. We are doing very well so far. Extremely lucky. He begins the slow move through the maze, torch held high, because of course he still needs the torch in the maze because the fiery lava is on the outside area of the maze. He begins to slowly make his way through, always turning to the right, always turning to the right. He is going to have to make 3 successful awareness rolls. Now he gets boons on those. He has to get a total of 3 rolls, okay? If he succeeds, he moves through the maze. If he succeeds after the second roll, he will encounter this talking statue in the middle of the maze, and if he succeeds on the 3rd roll, he'll make it all the way to the end. However, each failure that he makes is going to bring him face to face with a new danger that will either be a product of the dusty air, the fiery surroundings, or perhaps even the talking statue. So he's got a boon on this because he's earned that. So his first navigation roll, awareness, as he makes his way through the maze. 10s. These dice are awesome today. He succeeds in his first one, so he knows, always following to the right, always turning right. I don't know how mazes work, but he does at the point. So he's able to slowly make his way forward, and he knows that he's doing well. He's nowhere near those lava edges, which is great. In fact, as he looks up, maybe he can see, the high cavern ceiling above, shrouded in shadow, but illuminated a little bit from below, from that churning lava on either side. He's making good progress. He checks his torch. So a torch burns for up to a shift of time, but roll d6 after each stretch of time, or else it goes out. Okay. So yeah, each attempt is going to be a stretch of time. So at the end of the first one, he's successful, but the torch does not go out. It goes out on a roll of a 1. So he continues forward. Here we go, still with the boon on the die because he made his awareness check. Okay, well, good. Thank goodness we had that. He is successful at the end of his second stretch of time. We check the torch. It still remains. At the end of the second stretch, he comes face to face with the talking statue. Now, in this particular instance, the statue was not going to be an immediate danger to him because he succeeded on this roll. So as he emerges into the central circular chamber, we'll see. There's this massive statue that exists in the center, and Thirdrum approaches the center. From one of the exits he approaches, and he can see this gargantuan statue. Now, here's my question. Is the statue core to exiting the maze? Do you have to answer a riddle in order to get the far door to even open? Ooh, that's kind of cool. I like that. In fact, I'm not going to dice for that. I like it so much, I'm going to say that's the case. And as Thirdum approaches, the mouth begins to move as if by some ancient magic, or like a first level D&D spell, magic mouth. But whatever. The mouth begins to move, and it's all very creepy and cool. Oh, by the way, he did take 2 stretches of time, so I am going to advance the threat meter to 4. What is the riddle? Oh, riddles. This is going to be weird as a solo thing, asking myself a riddle. Well, let's see how it works. The statue begins to speak, and it's clearly the statue is speaking in a language that Thirdrum understands, although he's pretty sure it's not Dwarven or Common. It's speaking something, and Thirdrum has the impression that no matter who you are, you would understand that the magic of the statue basically transcends language and speaks directly to you. It sort of speaks in any language that the listener understands. What is the nature of this riddle? Rolling on the inspiration table. I'm going to roll twice with attribute and thing. So attribute is 2, arcane, and thing is 14. Arcane person, it is a statue, it's a riddle about an arcane person, about a wizard. A wizard. Perhaps the wizard that created this place. Perhaps this statue was a statue of this very arcane person who was responsible for creating this thing. Well, again, a riddle is sort of a weird thing to do when you're playing solo, because I can't think of a riddle and then, confound myself. So, it is a confounding maze, though. We do have to remember that. So it's got to be a difficult riddle. Whatever the riddle is, the statue speaks it, and Thirdrum must answer it. Now, Thirdrum has no arcane knowledge. He's a fighter. So if he was a wizard, he would get a boon on this roll, but he's not. He has got to roll a Myths and Legends roll to see if he can come up with the answer to this riddle, which is very much rooted in the local history of the land, of this thing, of the creator of this place, perhaps this wizard himself. So Thirdrum is going to have to roll on Myths and Legends. He's not very good at this. 5 or less. If he succeeds in this, of course, he answers the riddle, and if he doesn't, there's going to be some sort of complication. So let us see what happens. Okay, well, he does not succeed. Now the question is he going to push the roll? Yes, he is going to push the roll. He's going to become disheartened, but now he's rolling on his Myths and Legends again, which is an intelligence-based roll. Disheartened is a charisma check. Does he do it? Oh, he does it. He's got to really rack his brain. But finally he comes up with the answer to this riddle, which seems to satisfy this statue. And sure enough, the statue pivots, swivels rather, on its stone dais. And I think its arm basically points now towards the far side of the maze, where again, Thirdrum could see that the stairs go up to this door. And at that moment, he sees that stone door swing open to blackness beyond. And then the statue swings around and resets itself there. Okay, however, he's become disheartened by this. I think it's because he spent more time in this maze than he intended to, and although he does not himself know it, the threat of these goblins. They perhaps have caught on his trail. Perhaps now they are even aware of his presence here and are somewhere up ahead, managing to head him off at the pass to ambush him. Perhaps that is the case. He doesn't know it, but he knows that something is wrong. He's become disheartened. So any skill that he has to roll on this based on charisma, he'll roll with a Bane. All right, now he's not out of the woods yet. He has one more awareness roll with a boon to get to that now open door. Remember, if he fails, he's going to have to deal with one of the dangers of this place, which could either be that dusty, choking air, which may manifest in all kinds of ways, or the fiery lava around. Here we go. His awareness is 10. Does he do it? He could, oh, look at that. That is a 1. That is a dragon, which means he critically succeeds. Not only does he know exactly how to get through there, he does it with the utmost speed. In fact, it is another stretch of time, but because he rolled a 1, he's not going to have to check for his torch because he quickly makes his way, and I'm going to de-escalate the threat die down to 3 because he was so fast and so accurate. His knowledge of the place, his observation of how it's laid out, the fact that he's a dwarf, and the fact that he successfully answered this riddle and rolled this well. All these things are working in his favor. He makes it to the far end of this maze and is able to ascend those stone steps, and there the massive stone door has swung open, leading to the next area, which is also unknown. Looking for high-quality fantasy maps for your next fantasy RPG campaign? Czepeku has you covered. Get your hands on more than 4,000 stunning hand-drawn fantasy and battle maps that will take your tabletop role-playing games to the next level. Czepeku are a couple who love to make maps. They create unique and original worlds with outlandish themes and ideas you won't find anywhere else. Whether your players are heading into a classic dungeon crawl or something a little more offbeat, like a coral throne room or a giant elder brain skull, Czepeku maps have the imagination to match yours. Their archive is bursting with more than 4,000 hand-drawn maps, with new map packs added every week. Just head over to their Patreon, choose the Master Cartographer membership level, and you can get access to the entire lot. And if you can't find what you want, don't panic. Just let them know what you're looking for, and they'll add it to their weekly Patreon poll. Czepeku's map packs come with variations for things like seasons, time of day, weather effects, and much more. So if your players spend hours in a tavern planning their next move, you can seamlessly switch from day to night. Level up the action with dynamic animated maps that set the scene for dramatic, campaign-defining encounters with the most formidable foes. Immerse your players deeper with swirling portals and writhing elderbrain tentacles. Czepeku's fantasy maps work seamlessly on most popular virtual tabletops, including Alchemy RPG, Roll20, Encounter Plus, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, and more. All of the maps are also available with walls and lighting presets for Foundry VTT, letting you just get on with the action. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Patreon, choose your membership level, and get your adventure started today. Area 4 now, as he makes his way forward, torch still burning brightly. What is the area he's entering now? 1. An abandoned outpost. And remember too, all of the areas and rooms and corridors are all met with intersecting corridors, and there's side branching passages and everything. He is following the advice and the visions of Engulfer, basically. So it's not like there's, one road forward. He has many options, but because Engulfer said, look for these clues, look for this particular thing, that's what's bringing him closer to his goal. Otherwise, he could get hopelessly lost in this place. How many details are we rolling? 1. And what kind of detail is it? 3, it is an oddity. He's getting very lucky here. All right, 19 on the oddity. Unnatural darkness. Okay, so there's an unnatural darkness in this abandoned outpost, but let's find out a little bit more about this outpost. Who were the inhabitants of this outpost? It is abandoned, remember? 20. Demons. So, okay, this actually makes sense. This is very close, actually, to the previous maze. The lava was, in fact, a rift in the dimensions where the demons were able to pour forth from. In Dragonbane, the whole thing's about demons versus dragons and their history and stuff like this. So, this is a nexus point. This was a central point. This was a central outpost for the demons, which means that as he makes his way into this chamber, It is filled with unnatural darkness, but the rent in reality, the tear in the fabric of reality that causes the demons, or that caused the demons to be able to come through, is still here. And I think it is pouring forth unnatural darkness into the chamber. So my question is, when he comes into this chamber, he can't really see much, but he knows right away as he puts his torch up that the torch is it's like the darkness is trying to surround the torchlight and snuff it out and extinguish it. So it is unnatural, but he can see dead ahead, hovering in the air. There's like this round a portal hanging in the air, and he can see that this darkness is like wisps of black and gray energy almost is pouring through it, and beyond, within the tear in reality itself, he can see that clearly there's something else beyond that. But beyond the darkness, he can see maybe, roaring flames, or maybe he hears screaming beyond it, something like that. It's bad news. But there are no active demons here, which is very good. But he's going to have to get through this room without getting too close to that. But because the unnatural darkness thwarts his efforts, I think there could be some issues here. So normally I might ask at this time, does he want, because it's uninhabited, does he want to take the time to search around? But no. It's unnatural darkness. This is a rift to the demon realm. He doesn't want anything to do with this place. Is there a danger in the room itself that the darkness is concealing, right? Something as simple as treacherous terrain, fallen masonry, sharp rocks, or perhaps traps? Let's find out. The answer is extreme no. Oh my God, he's getting so lucky, so lucky. Extreme no. So all that means is he has to carry, he doesn't know that. So he's taking his time. He's taking his time, slowly making his way through this chamber. Again, he can't even see any details because of this unnatural darkness. He's basically holding his torch up, and he can only see up like 1 or 2 feet in front of him. So he's slowly trying to make his way, giving that rend in reality where the darkness is pouring through, giving that as wide a berth as possible. But he makes his way across. So this is just going to take time to do so, because there's no dangers for him in this room now, which is very good. However, because it takes time, I am going to advance the threat to 4, and then he must check his torch as he gets to the far end. Oh, and his torch has gone out. So it is expended its usefulness, and he's going to mark that off of his inventory. Now, luckily, at the beginning of this, I bought 2 extra torches. So smart, because otherwise I'd be in big trouble right now with no light. So he lights another torch with his flint and tinder, which he has, but he has made it to the far side of the room, and now he can continue onwards. And what is next, according to what Ingolfr told him? Aha! At last, the fiendish altar. Ingolfr has told him that the cultists take refuge here with their prisoner. My sight cannot glean their aims, but the blood-stained altar at the center of this chamber has seen countless deaths at the hands of those seeking parley with demonic forces. But I sense fear, hesitation in these cultists. They'll not die needlessly for their cause, I suspect. Free Gorum from their clutches. The chamber is like a roundish, natural-hewn cave, almost like a bowl with a series of entrances and exits descending down into the bowl. There's a couple of high stone arches here and here, and in the center there is an altar. I'm going to get a miniature just to represent that. As Thirdrum emerges at the top of this winding stone trail that goes down to this cave. It is illuminated by several torches and things. He can see that on that altar is in fact an orc, the orc he's looking for, and there are 3 cultists in the room. So these cultists are in the middle of trying to sacrifice Gorum, the orc. My question is, how engulfed in their ritual are they? Well, I think it's safe to say that they're pretty engulfed. Here's a question though. Is one of the cultists standing watch? I don't think so, because I don't think they have any reason to believe that anybody's coming after this orc. So I'm gonna weight it towards no. So I'm gonna take the lowest of these. Oh, look at that, extreme no. They are utterly oblivious to anybody. They're so focused on the ritual that they do not notice Thirdrum coming in. It's extreme no, which means that he is sneaking, but he doesn't have to roll for it because they are just utterly, I think they're wrapped up in sort of like a religious fervor, like spittle flying for their mouths as they're uttering ancient demonic words in supplication and prayer to whatever demonic force they're trying to contact. I think this high priest kind of guy here, I don't think any of them are actual high priests. I think they're all a bunch of low-level cultists. But I think he is brandishing a wicked-looking curved knife, and he's brandishing it over the body of the orc. They've painted the orc's skin in all sort of in a bunch of occult symbols, and they're chanting these demonic rituals. But nonetheless, Thirdrum sees this is the object of his quest. So luckily, they do not know he's here. Now, Thirdrum does not have any he does not have any ranged weapons, which means he's going to try and, so he will have to roll for this, because he's going to try and sneak up to get close enough to launch a surprise sneak attack on this cultist here. This is going to be extremely difficult. In fact, he wouldn't even have the opportunity to do this at all if we hadn't rolled an extreme no on the vigilance level of the cultist. So he still has to do a sneak attack though. And how this works, he's got to make a sneaking roll. He's got to move close enough to attack in melee combat, which gives him a bane. If he fails, the enemy notices, roll initiative, or draw initiative in this case. If he succeeds, it's a surprise attack. His sneaking roll with a bane, and he's wearing chainmail, which is an additional bane, very, very bad. Because they are utterly unaware of him, I'm going to give him a boon, which is going to cancel out one of those banes, which means he's got a net 1 bane. And he's looking to get 12 or less, but he's got to take the worst roll. Okay, well, the worst roll is a 20, which is a fumble, essentially. I'm going to have to push. Oh, you can never push a demon roll, a natural 20. Oh, you can never push a demon roll. Good to know. Bummer. All right. Well, I knew his luck had to run out. I knew it did. Which means that they see him as he's coming down. He is not made for sneaking. He's trying to get close, but his chainmail's clanking, and they turn. Now, what is the consequence of rolling the demon in this case? For this first round, he's sort of taken aback by how quickly they respond, so he is unable to use his army of 1 for the first round only, which means he only gets 1 initiative card in the first round. So they turn, they see him. Now, we go into combat. Shuffle up the initiative deck. These are between 1 and 10. Whoever gets the lowest goes first. So 1 goes before 2, etc., etc., etc. Neither of these guys are monsters. They're all individuals, which is good because a monster would be really bad. Monsters have different rules in this game. They're really hard. But these are basic. So there's 2 minions and a boss, okay? Actually, I'm going to make the boss go on his own. This is the minions. Minions are on 8. This is the boss. Ooh, the boss is on 3. And Thirdrum is on 7. Again, this round only. Thirdrum does not roll a second one. That's really bad for him. The boss goes first. Does the boss have any magical powers? Is he a cult? Well, it's possible. I'm going to roll and see if it's possible. No, extreme no, he does not have any magical powers. He's just a regular thug like the rest of them. He's decked out like a sort of a high priest, but he has no powers, which actually makes sense because these are, as I described before, these are sort of low-level cultists. So he's moderately tougher, but he doesn't have any magical powers, which is good. So in his action, because he's the boss, I think he's going to run up underneath this thing here. This is actually much higher. This just sort of is a, representation just because I wanted something cool in 3D. He's going to run up and he's going to swing his weapon. He's got a mace, let's say, with a 15 skill. So he's striking with a bludgeoning weapon, which has no effect on Thirdrum. He will hit. Now, Thirdrum has an option. He can choose to use his action to defend. And in this case, I think it's going to do it because this is the boss. So the boss is gone. The boss is moved and attacked. I flip his card. Thirdrum has to flip his card too because he's using his action to defend, which means he rolls any weapon skill he wants. In this case, it's going to be axes because he's pairing with the shield. Ooh, okay. Oh, that's the best possible thing. thing. He gets a dragon on the parry. This is the perfect thing. The luck of this dwarf is amazing. Okay, what that means is not only does he parry the hit, although it is possible that the shield takes damage. I got to roll damage. No, the shield does not take damage because if the parry damage exceeds the durability of the shield, it would wreck the shield essentially. But the durability is 15, so it's perfectly fine. Nonetheless, he got a dragon on his parry, which means not only can he maneuver this guy, and in fact, I think he's going to maneuver him, these guys are coming, he's going to maneuver him straight into the center of this area, which is going to kind of block the access way for the other two. So they're going to attack with if they can get to the dwarf at all, they're going to attack with, oh yeah, he's cut off one of the access ways here because of how this terrain is. Oh, that's really smart. That's really smart. Okay, not only does he maneuver the boss cultist into this area, but because he rolled a dragon when parrying, he immediately performs a counter attack on your opponent, an automatic hit with your weapon, which is an axe, which cannot be dodged or parried. He couldn't have dodged or parried it anyway because he used his action. Boom, perfect. The cultist comes up, swings. Our dwarf puts his shield up and sees an opportunity and smashes him, automatic hit, doing 2d8 plus a d4. Against the cultist, who does have armor on underneath his robes. So it's going to take 4 points off of this. Oh, wow. 13 minus 4, 9 damage to the boss. Great. That's awesome. He smashes him with the axe. Boom. That was them. And now it would have been Third Drum, but he used his action to defend, so now it is the minions. Now, because Third Drum has maneuvered this guy into a tactically advantageous position, only one of them can attack, and because of the nature of where this is, he's going to roll his attack with a Bane. So this guy's going to get through here. I'm going to remove that for now. His skill is 12, but he's attacking with a Bane, which means he rolls 2 and takes the worst on 12. Okay, so he still strikes. There's no parry possible. What is the damage he does? 2d6 minus 4, because he does have, Third Drum has chainmail. He's gonna do, 11. 11 minus 4, 7 damage to Third Drum. Ooh, that hurts. He's only got 6 hit points left. That's a big, bad hit. But the advantage is on the second minion. As he comes up, he's got nowhere to go. He can't attack Third Drum from here. So he just sits there shouting encouragement. Okay, now we redraw the initiative. Third Drum is not going to spend his veteran to keep that score because he wants 2 new initiatives because he's got army of 1. His first initiative is on 4. His second is on 10. The boss is on 3. Oh boy. The minions are on 6. Okay, that means the boss goes first. The boss is wounded, but now, he's got his buddy with him. So he's going to swing at Third Drum and he's going to hit because he's rolling on a skill of 15. Third Drum is going to use his 10 action to try and parry it with a skill of 14, which he does. Bang, just to make absolutely sure it doesn't do any damage to the shield. It does no 15. The durability of the shield is 15. If he had rolled a 16, if you roll over the durability, it would have shattered the shield. Ooh. That was the boss. Moved and attacked. Now it is Third Drum on 4. He is going to go after the boss again. Now, the boss has not... Oh, yes, that's the other thing. He's got his dwarven thing here. So I don't think he's going after the boss. I think he's going after this minion who hit him. Yeah, which means he's going to attack this guy with his dwarven grudge. He's going to attack with a boon to this roll. His axes is 14. Well, he'll take the 4. Not that it matters. He will hit. The minion is on 6. Is he going to use his action to parry? I think he will. His skill is 12. He does parry it off. So that minion will not be able to attack because he's used his action, and actually that guy will not be able to do anything either. So I'm just going to flip them right there. I'm also going to flip him because he used his. But let's see if the damage of 2d8 plus d4 actually shatters the rapier. His damage is going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Durability of 15, no. That was Third Drum attacking him. He parried, he can do nothing. We go to a new round. The question is, does Third Drum want to keep the 4? I think he does. He's going to spend a willpower to keep the 4, but not the 10. 4 is not the greatest, but it's not terrible either. So we're going to do Third Drum first in this next round of combat. He gets an 8. The boss is on 1 and the minions are on 7. Well, the boss goes first. Oh, the boss is going to strike with a 15. He's going to hit. Thirdrum's going to use his 8 to try and defend with a 14, which he does. He defends with his shield. I doubt the boss is going to do any damage to the shield unless he rolls 16, which he might, and he does not. So, boom, Thirdrum parries that off. That was the boss. Now it's Thirdrum. I think Thirdrum is still going after this minion who wounded him, because he gets to roll with a boon, this time on 14. Oh, there it is. He gets, oh, this is fantastic. He rolled a dragon on a critical hit. So we can either double the damage dice before rolling, or immediately perform a second attack against another enemy, which is a free action. He's not using a piercing attack, so we can't bypass armor, but the minion has no armor anyway. So here's the question. I think, because the boss is already parried, he's going to get the additional attack on the boss. So he's going to damage the minion, first of all, with his 2d8 plus 2d4, or 1d4 rather, against the minion who has no armor. 10, 17, that will kill the minion. Down he goes. Ugh! And his second attack, boom, with that critical hit, is going to be an attack, not with a boon, on... Oh, and he will hit. The cultist leader cannot defend, so he's going to hit on that one and do his 2d8 plus d4. Cultist has armor. However, this is slashing, doesn't do any... So 10 minus 4, 6 damage. Ooh, the boss is down to 3. Bang. That was great. This minion can move forward and strike. Now, here's the thing. He can do that, but one of their guys just got killed and the boss is almost down. My question is the minion going to flee, break and run? Engulfer specifically said, I sense fear, hesitation. They'll not die needlessly for their cause. So I think it is likely that this guy breaks and runs and tilt it towards 4. Yes, he does. This cultist has seen enough of this. He's going to break and flee up the stairs and out of the combat. Excellent. That was him. I don't think, it's just the boss now. So I don't think Thirdrum is going to keep that initiative. He's just going to hope for 2 good cards. Thirdrum, his first card is 9. The boss is on 2. Thirdrum's second card is on 8. Ooh, brutal. Well, the boss, he's hurt bad. Is there a chance that he retreats? He is not some crazy magical leader. He's just a guy. So I'm just going to roll it straight up. Does he turn and flee? The answer is yes, he does. Now, because he's turning and fleeing, he's going to try and move away. He's got to make an evade roll. It doesn't count as an action. So his relevant skill, I'm going to give it to his 15. Oh, he succeeds. He actually succeeds. So Thirdrum does not get the free attack, but he's going to move his 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Basically, he gets there and he's fleeing on 2. On 8, Thirdrum, who moves 8, can't really catch him. Well, he could. He's got 2 actions. Yeah, he's gonna attack him from behind with, because the guy's fleeing. Yeah, he's gonna do it. So he's gonna move his 8, which puts him there. So that was his move. He's gonna use action to dash, which is gonna put him right behind the guy. And now, on his second attack, because he's got army of 1, he's gonna attack with a boon at the fleeing cultist, and he will hit because it's with a boon. The cultist cannot defend, but he rolls his damage. -4 is going to be a total of 3. The cultist leader had 3 left. Down he goes. Awesome. He's killed these dudes. Immediately, Thirdrum runs and frees the orc from the... he's been tied down to this altar. He immediately undoes the ropes to the orc. Gorum knows the location of the cultist's outpost and may serve as a valuable ally in the days to come. So Thirdrum says, there's no time to talk. We've got to get out of here now. And Gorum says, before you go, don't you want to stop and search the area for treasures? And yes, I think we do, because we haven't done that yet. So here's the thing. There's 2 ways of doing this. They can scavenge the dead, scavenge the room. It only takes a minute or 2, no skill roll necessary. Or they could take a stretch of time and do a spot hidden roll, but that would advance the threat track. So instead, I think they're going to quickly scavenge the room and see what they find. This is a D10 roll. It's 9. 1 treasure card buried amongst the room, perhaps amongst the bodies. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do improvised weapons in this chamber. There's really cool improvised weapon cards that you can use to sort of make the area more interesting. That'll be next time though. I'll remember that next time. All right, the treasure. What do they find as they quickly scavenge the room and the bodies? Gold coins, D6 gold coins. They find 5 gold coins. That is actually quite a bit. All right, together with the orc, Thurdrum flees back the way they come. Not flees, but, gets out of there as quick as they possibly can, because they do not know what other dangers await them in the breach. So, leaving the breach, the path back is clear. We know that because there were no unresolved dangers. So they get back out of the breach without incident. It just takes some time, which would advance the threat track, but alas, those goblins never did find them. Thurdrum emerges with Gorum the orc and encounters Ingolfur, who's waiting there for them at the top of the breach. He explains what happened, and Ingolfur can see that Thurdrum is, in fact, wounded, but nothing that a little bit of rest won't take care of. Great. Now, that is the end of the first mission. The experience we get, oh, you know what I didn't do? I totally forgot this. Every time you roll a dragon or a demon on a skill roll, you check that. So I have to remember what I did. I know for sure it was sneaking. He got the 20 on the sneaking. He got the 1 on the axe skill. He got 1 on something else too. I think it was, oh yeah, it was the axe as well. So he doesn't get 2 for that. He gets an experience check for those 2 skills. Also, though, you gain 5 advancement marks for skills of your choice when returning from a successful mission. I roll a d20 for each marked skill, and if I get over the skill value, it increases by 1. So the first one is 10. Awareness 10. No, it does not. Crafting of 7. Yes, crafting goes up to 8. Evade is 12. Evade goes up to 13, which is great. Healing is 10. Healing does not go up. Sneaking of 12 does not go up. Spot hidden of 10. 18 does go up to 11. Turn it up to 11, Nigel. And axes is 14. Come on, give me an axe. Axes is 14. 1. No, it does not go up either. And that is that. Thurdrum emerges from the breach, goes off to the village of Outskirt, which is very, very close, where he can spend his 5 gold coins, probably get a night in the inn, rest up, regain his hit points and spent willpower points, and prepare for his second excursion into the Deepfall breach, which he will have to do next time on the next episode of Alone in Deepfall Breach. That was actually really kind of fun. I think I might do another one of these. If you are interested in seeing me do another one of these, please do let me know in the comments below. Other than that, please do consider hitting like and subscribe or joining us on Patreon or on the YouTube channel membership. That really enables me to produce more and more of this good stuff with all kinds of cool toys. So if you are interested in helping out, please do that. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode, possibly the next episode of Alone in Deepfall Breach, but certainly on the next episode of whatever it is I wind up doing here on Me, Myself, and Die. If he fails, the enemy notices, roll initiative, or draw initiative in this case. But if he succeeds, if he succeeds, it's let's try that again. If he succeeds, it's a surprise attack.